not all tiredness is physical. Some mornings, you wake up not from sleep, but from resistance. As if your body rested, yet your soul wrestled all night. The moment your eyes open, you feel it. The subtle weight of thoughts you didn't finish thinking yesterday, responsibilities you didn't choose, and a noise inside that doesn't match the silence of the room. Perhaps you need to hear this today. The morning is often mistaken for a beginning. But in truth, it's a continuation of everything left unresolved. And this continuation doesn't knock on the door gently. It barges in, disguised as urgency, distraction, emotional residue. Before you've even stepped out of bed, you are already responding to a world that hasn't yet happened. That's the hidden war. The Stoics never romanticized mornings. They approached them as a soldier sharpens his blade, not out of fear, but preparation. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about sunrise with admiration, but with strategy. For him, morning was armor. Epictetus taught that each day begins as a training ground for the mind, where you either take authorship or hand over your agency to the chaos outside. And Seneca knew, if you do not direct your time, others will do it for you. Maybe you've noticed how most modern mornings begin not with awareness, but with reaction. A phone screen, a notification, a scroll. It's as if the first decision of the day is to give your attention away, but attention is your first act of self-respect. And the Stoic morning begins there, not with urgency, but with anchoring. Picture this, a sculptor at dawn, standing before a block of stone. He doesn't add anything. He removes. Chip by chip, gesture by gesture, he reveals the form hidden within. A Stoic morning is like this. You do not build a good day by adding more stimulation, more rush. You begin by stripping away the unnecessary. Each habit you choose is a chisel, removing confusion, reaction, and noise, so that what remains is clarity. And clarity is not loud. It does not need to be proven. It is the quiet knowing that you are already who you need to be. You just need to stop burying it under what the world demands. This is not about productivity, it's about sovereignty, about waking up not to serve chaos, but to train calmness. Not to conquer the world, but to meet it with inner structure. As we walk through these 10 habits, let them serve not as checklists, but as invitations. You don't need to do them all. You just need to understand that each of them, in silence, can help you win a war no one sees. The war between reaction and authorship. Between forgetting yourself and remembering. Some mornings begin not with urgency, but with something more subtle, a quiet discomfort. A restlessness that doesn't yet have a name. Before anyone has spoken to you, before anything has gone wrong, there is already a noise inside. It's tempting to blame this feeling on today's tasks or yesterday's tension. But what if this agitation is not caused by the outside world at all? What if it's a residue, left behind by unprocessed emotions, by decisions postponed, by truths avoided? The Stoics observed that suffering often emerges not from events, but from our interpretation. And in the early hours, when the world is still quiet, your mind reveals what has not yet been faced. That's not a flaw. It's an invitation. While most rush to escape this unease, checking phones, chasing tasks, numbing with caffeine, the Stoic pauses, sits with it, because to command the day, you must first make peace with your own internal weather. Try this. Before you move, before you speak, sit for 2 minutes. Ask yourself gently, what's still alive in me from yesterday? No need to fix, no need to judge. Just notice. Naming the inner noise begins to tame it. Imagine your mind as a glass of muddy water. If you shake it, it stays murky. But if you let it rest, the sediment falls, clarity returns. And from that clarity, you respond, rather than react. This is the first act of self-respect in your day. To meet yourself before the world meets you. To listen to your own weather before stepping into the storm outside. Because the strength you carry later is built in these unseen, silent moments now. There is a certain kind of heaviness that doesn't come from the world's demands, but from our own resistance to them. It's the discomfort of not feeling ready, of knowing what must be done, yet waiting for a feeling to push us into action. That feeling rarely comes, and when it does, it's unreliable. The Stoics understood something quietly powerful. Freedom begins not when life becomes easy, but when you stop negotiating with your impulses. Epictetus said it plainly: where compulsion ends, freedom begins, and that begins each morning. You don't need more motivation. You need ritualized friction, a deliberate discomfort, chosen, not imposed. Cold water, silence, a breath held a little longer, a moment of stillness when your mind begs for stimulation. These are not punishments. They are acts of authorship. You tell your body, I decide, not my craving, not my fear. This is not about toughness for its own sake. It's about direction. Like tightening a bowstring before stepping onto the field, a small, chosen resistance prepares you to carry the day without needing it to be easy. Because the less you demand comfort early, the less control it has over you later. And the quieter your morning discipline, the more solid your presence in the chaos that follows. Discomfort, when invited consciously, becomes a form of anchoring. You meet the day not with fear, but with form. And that form begins in resistance. Most people visualize success. The Stoic visualizes difficulty and grace. There is a quiet wisdom in preparing for what might go wrong, not out of fear, but out of respect. Respect for reality and for the mind's tendency to dramatize what it does not understand. Marcus Aurelius, each morning, reminded himself, today I will meet selfish people, liars, the impatient, the cruel. He didn't do this to invite bitterness, but to soften the blow of surprise. Because what surprises you controls you, and what you prepare for, you can meet with dignity. In the early moments of your day, before the demands arrive, close your eyes. Picture something small but annoying, a delay, a disrespect, a conflict, and then see yourself responding without losing form, without drama, without collapse, just breathing, just staying whole. This is not negativity, it's emotional immunity. Like a vaccine that introduces a weakened version of a virus so your body learns how to face it. You are teaching your nervous system that discomfort is survivable, that stress is not your master. The day will bring what it brings. You can't control it, but you can rehearse your inner stance, not perfectly, just consciously. And from that rehearsal, a new kind of confidence is born. Not loud, not visible, but deeply rooted. The kind that walks through chaos and remains unshaken. There are days when you wake up and feel strangely unfamiliar to yourself, as if your thoughts, your posture, your energy don't match who you thought you were. This quiet fragmentation isn't always dramatic, but it erodes something essential: your center. The Stoics didn't believe identity was fixed. They believed it was reaffirmed, quietly, daily, not by shouting affirmations, but by choosing who you will be, in the smallest of actions. You don't need to figure out who you are. That question leads in circles. Instead, ask, how will I respond today? What tone will I bring into this morning? What posture? What presence? Try this. Before engaging with the world, write one sentence. Just one. Today, I will act as someone who... and finish it. Truthfully. Not aspirationally, with clarity. Because identity, like an instrument, drifts out of tune if left unchecked. But with one small act of attention, you can bring it back, not to perfection, but to harmony. You are not one fixed self. You are a pattern of presence, and each morning you have the quiet authority to shape that pattern with intention, before the world shapes it for you. There is a kind of exhaustion that comes not from doing too much, but from never fully being in what you do. A quiet despair of rushing through moments without inhabiting them, Time becomes something to survive, not something to honor. The Stoic doesn't control time, but they learn to control how they inhabit it. And that changes everything. Slowness is not inefficiency, it is resistance. A refusal to be swept away by urgency. A subtle rebellion against the culture of speed. You are not a machine, and your value is not in your pace. Try beginning the day with one act done with complete attention. Brushing your teeth, opening a window, putting on your shoes. No rush, no distraction, just presence. The world may not notice, but your nervous system will. It's like stepping off a speeding train and feeling the ground beneath your feet again. You remember that you have a body, that you are here, that this moment is not a means to an end. It is the place where your life is actually happening. To slow down is to say, I am not chasing the day, I am meeting it. That shift is not loud, but it is revolutionary, and it begins with one small, deliberate step, taken in silence. Your morning is not preparation for the day. It is a declaration, a statement of command, not over the world, but over your own presence within it. And that declaration is made silently, through choice, through attention, through the refusal to be rushed. The Stoics didn't build routines to feel good. They built them to become solid, to carry a kind of interior weight that did not collapse under external pressure. A morning aligned with Stoic principles is not about mood, it's about structure. Modern life floods your psyche before you can even anchor it. Notifications, opinions, comparisons, expectations. But when you anchor first, through clarity, resistance, reflection, you turn the tide. You meet noise with depth. You meet rush with intention. Imagine this, placing foundation stones in the dark before sunrise. One by one, quietly, carefully, no one sees. But each stone matters. Each choice made in stillness builds a form that the rest of the day cannot shake. And in that form, you don't just survive the day. You carry it. With calmness, with quiet strength, with authorship. Not because everything is easy, but because you remembered who you are before the world had a chance to make you forget.